I want to talk about what's happening in Israel and in Gaza. But first of all, we've had these very, very moving ceremonies, not least of course, at Auschwitz on Holocaust Memorial Day. What do you think is the significance of the events we've been seeing with so many world leaders joining these commemorative events?
Well, quite, I think, naturally, the significance of the Holocaust Day today, on the 27th of January, and exceptionally in Auschwitz, is not different from the significance of this day in any other year. This is a very important day in the Israeli ethos, in the minds of Jews across the world, but equally, I think it should be, and it is, in many occasions, also very significant to other people in other countries and leaders from across the world. Everyone understands that what happened in the Second World War and the attempt to annihilate the Jewish people as the most comprehensive effort to get rid of one nation, of one group of people, has never been done before in the history of mankind, and this is not something that can be forgotten or can be forgiven. And the event that takes place every year in Auschwitz is a reminder of how low sometimes human beings can go and how important and significant it is to remember it so that it will never happen again. And I think that this is what is the meaning of the Auschwitz Day and the Holocaust Day for us and for everyone.
Yes, so many moving ceremonies today, and it comes on the day that we've had the confirmation that 8 of the Israeli hostages who've been held in Gaza are known to be dead. What do you make of that news at a crucial stage of this process of trying to end the conflict there?
Well, the specific details about this were not yet published in Israel because of the sensitivity and the need to make sure that indeed when the hostages will be back, we will know for sure. But we were aware that there will be, amongst the first 33 hostages that will be released, 8 will not be alive. So there is no surprise, and probably there is no surprise also in the identity of those who are not alive. This is terrible, this is heartbreaking, and this is something that we keep asking ourselves all the time. Could we have saved them had we made an agreement much earlier? Had they been alive, let's say, in May, when the first opportunity for an agreement between us and Hamas was discussed? I don't know to give an answer at this stage. I think it's too early, but these doubts and the fears that maybe there was a chance to save some before will probably still be on the emotional agenda of many Israelis. And of course, the question is, what will, when all these hostages, so the first phase of the agreement, will be released, how many of the others that will still be held by Hamas will remain alive at the time that there will be, if there will be, another agreement?
Yes, we are at a crucial stage of that agreement. We're already seeing tens of thousands of Palestinians returning to their homes in northern Gaza. But of course, so much has been completely destroyed, annihilated there. Do you think that Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu's government, has to take responsibility for those people who've been moved in many cases around different parts of Gaza during the war and are now returning home to find that they have nothing, that their homes are completely destroyed?
This is a very difficult and complex issue to deal with. Of course, in a technical way, Israel is responsible in the sense that the attacks of the Israeli army in Gaza, it brought about a destruction in so many parts of Gaza. How can one look at it in a very narrow perspective? Fact is that Hamas, which is in control of Gaza for so many years, started a war with atrocities of the worst possible kind, killing 1,200 Israeli citizens in their homes, in the living rooms, in the bedrooms, in the safe rooms, torturing, butchering, beheading, burning alive children and their parents and their grandparents. And it brought about the almost inevitable counteroffensive by Israel. And to be honest with ourselves, when the extent and of what the Hamas did became known to world leaders, every world leader that we care for, starting with the President of America or the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Rishi Sunak, and the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and the Chancellor of Germany, and many others, all say Israel has a right to respond in a toughest possible manner. And I remember looking at Rishi Sunak when he was in Israel, and he said, I said in Parliament, I will not ask Israel to stop. They should reach out for the Hamas leaders. And everyone knew that the Hamas are hiding on ground, underground, inside.
But so much has happened now, and we're now looking at thousands of Palestinian civilians who have nowhere to go, who have homes destroyed. Shouldn't Israel now get involved, not just in withdrawing from Gaza, but to help them rebuild their lives?
First of all, I had to answer your questions. How did it happen? How did it happen that suddenly there were so many Palestinians becoming refugees and homeless in their own city, in their own place where they live? So the reason for it, to say that Israel is exclusively responsible for it, will entirely distort the real perspective of what happened. Now the question is, how can they be assisted? First of all, it is, I think, the responsibility of the international community and the Arab countries and the Palestinians, of course. And if there will be an agreement which will end the war, and I'm in favor of ending the war right now, then it is likely that there will be a way that Israel will participate in rehabilitating Gaza, but that the precondition for it, of course, is the total removal of Hamas from having any position in Gaza, because otherwise it will be ridiculous. We will help create the foundation for the future attacks by the same organization that started the whole chaos in the last couple of years.
And what do you make of Donald Trump, newly returned as president, suggesting that Palestinians should be moved to Egypt or Jordan, which of course has been rejected by those countries and by Palestinian leaders? Donald Trump saying that Gaza is a demolition site and we should just clean the whole thing out. I mean, that's not surely a realistic solution to what is happening there.
Well, I can assist you in adding that I heard now that he was also talking with Albania for asking them to perhaps also get about 100,000 Palestinians in Albania. I think it's realistic as much as getting them to Jordan or to Egypt. I don't want to now discuss the moral aspects of his proposal because, as you said, Jordan and Egypt are entirely against it. And I think that Albania will say the same. It will not happen. It will just not happen. It is not practical. It is not realistic. And, in a certain way, it's surprising because this is said or offered by a president whose perhaps the most significant agenda of his political campaign, winning the presidency, was against the immigrants coming to America. America, with 350 million Americans, is not prepared to absorb immigrants, and this is, according to the American leaders, a threat to the foundations of the United States of America. And then the same Americans are now offering Egypt and Jordan to get hundreds of thousands of immigrants from Gaza. So, there are all kinds of questions that can be raised, but I don't think it's important, because I don't think it will happen. I don't think that the Palestinians will cooperate. I don't think that the Egyptians or the Jordanians or the Albanians or anyone will cooperate. And we have to look for other ways to rebuild Gaza and to provide the necessary basic needs for the residents of Gaza to live in a different way altogether.
Just finally, you said that you want the war to end completely. Yes. Donald Trump clearly had a role in getting that initial agreement over the line. Do you think now that the next phases of this deal will be fulfilled? Do you think that Israel will be prepared to pull its troops out of Gaza, and that the next phases of this, to finally end this conflict, will be agreed to?
Look, I'm certain that you know that I'm not the best supporter of Netanyahu and the Israeli government. So what I do want to say in this context is that I think this is an opportunity for President Trump. If he will have the vision and the imagination and the creativity to depart from the rhetoric of some of his assistants, the Secretary of Defense, the new appointed ambassador to the State of Israel, Governor Hakami, and others, and he will use all his power of persuasion, which he has, to explain to Netanyahu that he has no choice but to end the war immediately, now, to bring back all the hostages, to release the Palestinian prisoners that will be part of this agreement, and to prepare the complete withdrawal of Israel from Gaza in order to allow a security force made of Palestinians in cooperation with the Palestinian Authority and of representative of moderate Arab countries like Egypt, like the Saudis, like the Emirates and the others, in order to create the necessary security force that will prevent the Hamas from returning into any dominant position in Gaza. If Trump will have the vision and the strength and the determination, the firmness, to explain to Netanyahu in a way that Netanyahu will understand, and Netanyahu doesn't understand if it is not put to him in a way that he has no room to run from. He will have to accept it. The only person that in the world today that has the power to do it is Trump, and if he will do it, he will win the admiration, I think, of the international community, but also of many Israelis that expect him to do something which goes beyond just a traditional, simplistic rhetoric that has characterized some of his assistants.
Ehud Olmert, thank you so much for talking to us.